So this has been a long journey. As I mentioned in the description, I failed to start streaming when we started the campaign. With just a little overview. Orient this north to south. So our faction, we are the Lizardmen, and they follow the Wanderer, spirit of the jungle. Here's a little records thing. I'm not sure how far it can go back. Well, go back quite a ways. So, a little description before we get going, right? So, we started off all the way out here in the east. Right here. And our beginning mission was to start destroying factions and claiming their lands along this eastern coast. So as you can see, you get issued missions, you have to go out and complete them. But it's not that simple, especially with these people. So the villages that you usually claim, you have the choice to sack, raise, or occupy. Each one of them has their own different perks. But the people that I'm playing, you can either raise them or you can devote them to a temple. So let's pause this. Let me explain that. So for my people, you get to raise up temples, and it goes to the temples of the old ones. That's who the faction is. And we can't really control or do anything with those temples. You raise them, you can defend them if you want. But the main objective is to fill up these diamonds so that you can spend points and get better troops. And then different perks and stuff. And they also give you campaign effects. We'll start here. Oh, it's not showing progressively. So we'll just click. Right, I think that'll be better. So, as you can see, another faction was claiming lands as well. And they were growing quick. One moment. I'm just gonna let this play out while it's, gotta go AFK real quick. too far. So like I was saying, I was issued missions. I had to claim these lands, but at this point, I had to start making allies, right, to cross through their lands. So you establish non-aggression pacts. So I believe these are the western provinces, and then I forgot who they were, but they're the Grand Cathy, I think, is the main alliance, we'll call them. And they were having me join their wars. And that's where the snowball effect really started happening, because just being allied with them alone, I had to join a lot of wars. So these guys were just claiming lands. I believe they're ranked 1 on the campaign right now. As you can see, battles were fought. Your people level up, or they rank up, and they get different, like, skills and attributes and stuff like that. So at this point, let's pause and see if we can scroll through it a little faster. See, wars declared. This was through my allies, the western provinces. They wanted me to declare war against these people. So to keep those good relations going, so that they didn't touch my lands, I was joining the wars. So let's see if we can kind of fast forward through this, because we are at like around 500, I believe. We have this peaceful little tribe down here that they were there for a while, but then these guys wanted me to wage war against them, and I didn't want to, because they were just kind of chilling. So at this point, the reason you didn't see any more green popping up over here is because I had to take out the Nurgle, who are down here, and that was for one of my main campaign achievements. So we traveled down, I believe, I want to say we traveled down and then went through here. I believe so. But then we sailed to this island to take it over. And then right here, we can see this because we established allies with the elves, which we will get to later. And then we established treaties with the dwarves. So we're joining these wars, we're, fighting these battles for these other factions. The western provinces, I didn't know they were claiming that much at this point. So this was the cult of, I think it's the cult of seducers is what they're called. bunch of elves over here. I believe humans, maybe, on these lands. Can't zoom the map out. Only scroll up and down. That's fine. So we continue on. I came this way because there was a mission over here that we needed to do, but the dwarves started closing up all of this. So we really couldn't do much about that at that point. So we fast forward. Now we have traveled back, and we're starting to fight wars on the mainland again. Lots of battles, military alliances, negotiated, wars declared. Mind you, I only started a few wars on my own terms through my missions needing to be completed. So we started claiming up land. The more land you claim, the more money you make. The better your armies will be, etc., etc. So this is about a quarter of the way through the campaign. We're starting to fight north. Because our ally is losing land, and we're trying to take it back. One of the biggest problems that we were having is we would claim land, and then the people we were fighting would go and take them back, and you know, we don't take lightly to that. So let me double check. 'Cause there is a point where we travel into the desert. I don't think we're getting there quite yet. So the cult of seducers, they were number one for quite a while, and you'll see in a minute why. So we're going, I'm pretty sure I was traveling north at this point to fight the war in the north. Help our allies regain their lands. Yeah. How I know is through this. We forgot who it was that we were fighting, but so we started claiming up all of this land up here and finishing off one of the factions that were up in this northern part. So I think at this point, what happened? Okay, there we go. Oh jeez. We're about here. So at this point, I want to say I established treaty with the other lizardmen, and the Tomb Kings were closing in on him. I believe, if I remember that correctly, so I had to pull out of the war in the north and send troops south because I needed to save the other lizardmen. Yeah, that, as you can see, we're starting to claim lands down here because we sent all of our troops down here to try to save the other lizardmen. But I want to say at this point, they had been defeated. I couldn't make it south in time. I was fighting the war up here, and they were down here in this corner. So we took it personal and said you don't touch the lizardmen. So now we're fighting the war in the south in the desert. I wonder, is this filter out? Add all messages of this type to the current filter. So filter out rank gained. Filter out construction. Filter out weapon obtained. Filter out trait gained. Filter out unit recruited. This might make it go a lot better. I don't know if these are, but we're filtering them out. Hero activity, we could probably filter this out. That's just a lot. There's a lot of heroes doing a lot of things. So filter that. see if that makes it a little better. Almost definitely. Okay, so as you can see, we took Tomb Kings, taking out the Lizardmen very personally. The one thing at this point too that I didn't like was when we arrived to lands and started claiming stuff, our allies would come in and swoop lands from under our grasp. Which, whatever, you know, they're allies, but they weren't doing anything until we showed up. This was the thing that got to me. So we're going, at this point we were chasing the Tomb Kings through the desert, right? It was getting late that night, but again, we took them eliminating the Lizardmen personal. So we're going, and we chased them to this coast, and they got on boats and fled west. And it was very upsetting. At some point coming up to, I believe, I split the forces. Because the war in the north was still happening. Now we have a war in the desert. But then the war goes south and west. And we start fighting it at two different fronts. As you can see, there were battles to be fought. So again, we're going. And this is when we sent troops south. Because there were people down here that my allies needed help with. And then this is when I finally arrived in the west. Because we were chasing down the Tomb Kings. So at this point, I was thinking, okay, the Tomb Kings are established here now. They fled the desert, and they've taken up lands beneath the Cult of Pleasure, who was ranked 1 at the time. So we're kind of trying to stay out of their lands because we don't want to wage war with them just yet. We were tunnel visioned on the Tomb Kings. So we're going, and then this is when we started closing in on the Tomb Kings. So we thought we were good at this point. We were like, okay, the Tomb Kings only have a couple more lands. They're going to be eliminated. But that was not the case. There was a lot of fighting back and forth. Other factions coming in, trying to take lands. Tomb Kings would send heroes out and sack villages. So we were like, how are they still alive? Right? So we're taking back lands. And we started going north. Okay, we're starting to get to that point. We started going north because we found out the Tomb Kings fled. And they established, I believe this was their little piece of land that they... So once we came here, they fled north and somehow established lands here, which pretty much all of these factions I was at war with. So they dug themselves in there. And we said, you know what, we have to figure out how to get there. Right? I'm not sure if they were defeated at this point, but yeah, we had to figure out how to get there. And I want to say I split the forces again at this point. I had troops fighting in the north. We were tunnel visioned on the Tomb Kings. And then there were other people too that, to keep our military relations fine, you know, we had to fight other battles. So down here is claimed. Elves, dwarves, us. Dwarves, elves. So at this point I thought, like, cool, like we have a set, you know, we're pretty set. Western provinces, we were okay with them too. So at this point it was like Cult of Pleasure, #1, and then all these other little tribes in between, or factions. So fast forward, I have troops fighting up here. I have troops fighting down here. Alright, we split the forces. I think the main focus is up here now. So we're starting on claim lands. But at this point, it was at this point, I remember, I told myself I have to pull out of this war up here because my people were struggling down here, so I needed to consolidate the forces again. So I started fighting along this coast and said, you know what? You know, whoever takes it, takes it. If not, cool, we'll keep it. But the western provinces and the dwarves were fighting in this area, so I said, I'll take this coast, and I'll send, you know, consolidate my forces here. So as you can see, there was this tribe, they kept taking back these lands and stuff, but we didn't care at that point. At that point, we wanted to consolidate our forces and get them down here. And so, yeah, see, they'd taken them back, reclaiming them, whatever. We didn't mind. So our troops that came down here, they landed here because I said, you know what? There's people over here that we need to fight. We're gonna fight them and get our grounds. So that's what we started doing. We let them take back all of that up there because, you know, whatever. We were hoping that the dwarves would be able to stand their ground. At this point too, I had a couple people down here because there was factions coming back and forth, just taking stuff to try to keep afloat. But all of our forces were consolidated at this point up here, so we, you know, whatever. want to say it was at this point. It's very satisfying because there was other bush rats. Let's see. I'm trying to remember if I can remember their name. As you can see, at some point the Tomb Kings were destroyed. And I was slightly disappointed because it wasn't us who took them out, but needless to say, my lizardmen brethren were finally avenged. It was after that, so these other bush rats, there's a lot of people. Like, I'd be in the middle of fighting a war, and then another faction would come in, and it was like teeter-tottering, you know? I'm fighting one side, it's going good, then we go down because another faction comes in, starts fighting us, but then we start fighting them, and things are going good. I forgot who they were, but anyways, it was very satisfying when we took down the faction right here. So we start taking lands, right? We're like, we are claiming this side of the map now. We sent forces down here because there was two factions set up on this island, and one of these factions is down here as well. So we had to plan that out. We're like, okay, we got, two armies up here. We can send them down and let the rest of our armies claim these lands up here. Yeah, so that's what we started doing. And the elves kept bugging us, they wanted us to wage war against the number one. But we're already, we've fought wars everywhere. We were busy with other things, and they just kept getting mad that we wouldn't declare that war just yet. So we're fighting. So this is where things started getting hairy, right? So we're like, oh, we have allies. These people were non-aggression pact with us. We had the dwarves, we had the elves, western provinces. They were all at our backs. So I was thinking, okay, we established land here, and most of our main missions somewhere along here. I want to say it's here. We have to claim some trees and come in this area. So okay, we're going to establish, settlement and reconsolidate all of our troops here to start fighting this war. So anyways, we're going. And we started slowly claiming stuff. We had two commanders up here with their armies, and then the rest consolidated down here. So, like, okay, See, as you can see, our allies would just take lands from us. Like, oh, you fought the battle, but we'll take the land. Okay, whatever. So down here is where things start getting hairy. Right? See, as you can see, this is exactly when it starts getting hairy. So, all of these treaties and stuff that we had, I wonder if it goes down the whole page. So anyways, let's go to where we first noticed it. So, at some point, the elves, right, the guys who own these lands, right, all this stuff, it was like I have declined that war so many times. I was focused on trying to claim the trees down here, but I needed to try to keep that military alliance. So I accepted the war. I said, okay, you know what? We will help you fight the number one, which was the Cult of Pleasure. Mind you, most of the wars that we fought and went through, were because of our allies. Our main wars that we started were over here, right? We declared this war, we declared war with Nurgle, all for the mission, right? Missions issued, got it. Those are the wars. All these other battles that we had to fight were because our allies, right, made us join those fights. So, this is when it started getting hairy. I noticed that, where is it at? Declared right here. As soon as we declared war with the Cult of Pleasure, who was number one at the time, our allies started breaking their packs, right? I had troops down here, and everyone around me started breaking their packs. Pack broken. Right here, non-aggression. Corone. It's this blue, right? They break our pact, and as you can see, so I think this is the Golden Order, I believe. Right here too. This is Corone, so right, these are our lands. We're already at war with these green. Right, so as you can see, we are surrounded at this point because everyone's breaking their pacts with us. The Western Provinces, defensive alliance broken. Western Provinces broke their pact with us. Is that all the way down? Okay. So let's kind of start going through, right? So at this point, we're fighting to get out of there. I had troops set up here. Just, waiting till I could refocus on just one war. But we tunnel visioned. I mean, they broke their pacts with us, and we took that personal. So at this point, we're just trying to stay alive, right? I start claiming lands over here because I'm like, you know what? They broke their pact with us. I have, men. We were losing men out here, just surrounded by enemies. So I'm like, we're already at war with Cult of Pleasure. Start taking their lands and seeing what we can do with that. Right, so we're going. At one point, it got to one commander in these lands, and I was just fighting my way to get out of there. And that's where this started. I had a commander back here. I was regathering my forces out here. I'm just gonna fast forward. That's why you see like us losing these lands and then gaining lands this way was we were fighting our way out of there. We were just trying to get our commander out of there. Right. So we're fighting. I think at this point I was we were consolidating our forces here. Right, we had the Cult of Pleasure coming in, sending dragons both ways. And they were guarding a building. I want to say it was like right here. Like defending it with everything they had. So we thought that was weird. Right, I think if you claim certain buildings or villages or whatever, you get different perks. I don't know if that's entirely the case, but that's what I was thinking, because so the Cult of Pleasure was just raising dragons left and right, just sending them at us. We're up here fighting it. We're trying to escape down here. So I had a feeling, I was like, we have to take this this village. So we took it. We took where they were raising their dragons, and we were consolidating our forces. We're like trying to catch a breath, right? Defending that building with everything we had, because in my head I was like, this is where the dragons are coming out from. That might not be the case, but that's definitely where there were. I mean, when we took this over, there was so many dragons. We finally got our commander out of there, though. There were two factions roaming the seas right here, so we paid them off, gave them enough money, keep them happy, keep them off our back, and get my commander across the sea. So at this point, we're going to destroy the Cult of Pleasure's economy, because they're number one. What better way to try to bring them down than taking their lands, right? So that's what we did. Our forces were consolidated. These guys came down here and started taking the desert. We said, you know what? That's okay, because we will be back to fight you guys. We dealing with numero uno right now. So we're fighting. taking over the lands. And I want to say, what was that? Oh. Hold on, let me go back a little bit. So, I mean, you know, everyone betrayed us. So the main focus was to get to sail across right here, right? Get my people over, get them here, and start taking everything from the elves. Because they took everything from us, right? We lost a lot of men in the battle up here. One commander and his armies got out alive. So we took that personal, right? So we're like, okay. We have to deal with the cult of pleasure. We have to deal with the traitors. We have to make sure these lands are ours. And we have to sail across. So that's what's going on in our head at this point. Right, down here really hasn't been touched, so we're gonna zoom that up so we can get a main focus on what's actually happening. Right, and this is when it started happening. Right here. We were able to sneak one commander. I had to sail him across, bring him up this way. And our idea was to pull their attention off the dwarves, because the dwarves started getting ran over. At this point, I had enough money to, I threw a bunch of money at the western provinces, keep them happy, keep them off my back, right? So I can deal with the elves. I don't know if the dwarves ever broke alliance with us, but actually, I don't think they did. They might have, but at this point in the game, I had so much money that it was just like, here's money. I will come back for it when I take your lands. But yeah, this is where glory started happening. So we're going. As you can see, we're taking lands from the elves, because the elves were the biggest cause of all of this. They had a few armies chasing down my one commander, because at this point it was just like guerrilla warfare, right? I got troops back on these lands. I had a few up here guarding where I believe the dragons were coming from. And I had troops coming through here to start taking these back and fighting to get to this commander up here. Right, so one commander here, and I believe 3 commanders down here. So that's 4, and then I had 4 commanders up here. The army that I'm playing, you can only have 8 lords, or as I've been calling them, commanders. So I had 4 up here, 3 down here, and then 1 up here doing guerrilla warfare with the elves, right? So we're going. We had 2 different armies chasing down this commander. They were not happy with him. because he's just going through, and as you can see, the one commander is going through just taking lands. Again, tunnel vision on revenge. So we're doing battles. I had him circling back around, and my idea was get my commander down along this southern coast and sneak another one up. So that, I mean, because they're sending, 3-4 commanders at my one at a time. So we're going, right. We took back the desert. And it was pretty much at this point, right, I had my commander coming along the southern coast. I had a couple more. I think I left one in the desert to keep fighting them. I had another one sneaking up. And then the 4 up here, right, we dealt with a lot of the Cult of Pleasure. And we're taking back, or we're taking these lands. So we're fighting over here, we're fighting down here. Down here, it was war. So we're going, right. We had one commander here at a village, and I was having this other commander come up and meet up with him. So at this point, we own the West. We wanted to take the island. We're fighting the battles in the desert. And we have 2 commanders here. So 2 commanders here, 2 commanders here. 4 up here, but I split them, right? And I send 2 here eventually. You'll see when the green starts taking over. So I got 2 commanders here. I believe I left 1 here, actually. So I left 1 because there was nothing happening, right? So I was like, okay, defend it with 1 commander. Send 3 here to take the island. Collectively, we have 4, right? These guys keep coming back and forth trying to take land. These guys are fighting too, which they're all elves. I think these are high elves, wood elves. Mind you, all this battling is happening, and the dwarves doing nothing about it. So, we're trying to figure out if they're really allies. I mean, they don't really own much, but we'll burn that bridge when we get there. Okay, so we finally take control of this part of this continent, right? So we're like, okay, now what our idea is, right, is we take back these lands, we take as much as we can from the elves, and we send this battle here to start taking over our domination campaign victory conditions. So we're doing battle, waging wars, we're taking the island. This was last night. My focus was trying to take the entire island. Somehow, these people snuck, 3 commanders onto one of my commanders here. We lost him, so we had to regather our forces up here with our main commander. So we're doing battle, waging war, right? I have 2 commanders here, keeping control of the desert. and 3 up here, taking control of the island. And then 2 over here to start pushing. So we're doing battle. We're claiming lands, right? And we're pretty much, this is where we are, where we stand right now. We've claimed most of the island, and I will show you why we had to stop. We have a commander down here that's going to focus on keeping these guys at bay, right? So we're going to leave him there. We have a commander in this area who's going to start reclaiming this, and we have 2 commanders here who are going to start taking all of this. So the idea is we at least try to control this on the map. Before we swoop. So we'll send the guys in this region. We'll take it all over. Send them through here. We have our armies over here who think we can take control of this. And then I'm thinking either the idea... This is the Western provinces, I believe, who we're on okay standards with. So I want to say we take the coast, and then we push this commander up to start claiming this stuff. Kinda get them all forced in this area so we can claim. Because the trees we need, I believe, are like right here. There's a couple here. There's, I think, 1 up here. Oh, but that is where we are. I'm gonna go AFK for 1 second, and then we will do battle. let's get to it. So this is the layout right now, right? We have one commander here guarding this, the ancient city of Quintex. There hasn't been much action over here, but since the Cult of Pleasure is still active, we're gonna defend this because I don't know if that's the case, but I feel like this is where they were producing their dragons from. Maybe it's because of the carved obsidian. I don't know. But we're gonna defend it. So as you can see, we can't really wage war against this. Not with our forces split the way they are. These are sea battles, and yeah. So this will be dealt with at a certain point. These guys are the bush rats who jumped my one commander that I had down here. And that one commander is Mazda Inzi, right? So what our plan here is we've got to upgrade his temple because the bush rats destroyed it. So the idea here is we're going to start claiming, right? We're going to come down, claim this, take that over, probably take this and this, and we'll see about claiming this. So that'll just leave the Cult of Pleasure in this little bay. But then from that point, we have the option to go over here, right, to deal with these bush rats. I think this is their main settlement. But we're not so much worried about that because we have to claim these trees. So there's one up here. And then I believe the rest are down here. And that is to get our ultimate campaign victory. So we need to claim the trees, and we need to destroy these factions. Which they all betrayed me. No, I mean, we've been at war with these guys the whole game. These high elves betrayed us, so we must destroy the traitors. These guys betrayed us, so they will be dealt with. The Golden Order hasn't really done anything to us, but I believe they're at war.
You stand before the Supreme Patriarch like an ant before the descending boot.
So we're not going to establish anything with them. So to show strength ranks, I don't know why it says reliability low. So the western provinces are
Celestial blacksmith.
which. So I think that's why my reliability is low. Because I'm just forking money over at this point. As you can see, everyone's dropped their alliances with me, which is fine. Whatever. These are who I'm at war with. But I think my reliability is low because I fork money over to keep this status, right? I don't want them to take my lands. I want to be able to travel where I want to. And that's probably why. I mean, once I was betrayed and everyone dropped their alliances, it's just war at that point. So they're number one. Cult of Pleasure number two because of their navy. Knights of Caledor, we're about to drop them. I mean, we're currently taking over their lands.
Ironbrow!
Oh, see. Ironbrow is... I mean, he's depleting.
The dwarves are not pawns and...
Because as you can see, we have the money. We're not worried about that.
The runes of wrath and ruin strike for you!
What we do is... We give them money. It keeps them happy. Which we haven't done in a while, so...
Oathbound! Aye!
Yeah. And what our objective is to get that total number at the bottom, total attitude value. We want to get that bumped up so that we can fight the wars we
For
want.
Caracazol!
Right?
Yes!
Total attitude value. So we want to bump that up. We haven't given them money in a little while, so...
Smite ya! Already done! Have at!
The only thing about these two is...
Aye!
giving money back and forth between the factions makes them mad. Whatever.
For Brumney!
So we're safe. The lands are safe. His number's up.
Fire and metal.
See, it's...
You have the honor of meeting the Iron Dragon, as my siblings would do.
I have to pick an alliance. But it's hard right now. So we just want to keep
An appealing experiment.
our status with them safe for now. And these are really the only two that I'm worried about because...
Arcane wisdom!
See, gifts to the western provinces. Hero actions against... I want to get this ultimate campaign victory, and we're slowly but surely figuring out how. Right, so we have two commanders down here. They'll start taking lands this way. We have commander down here. He's gonna start taking this stuff back. So that's one commander. Second commander is here. He's over there. These two moved. And then they haven't been moved yet. So we're gonna focus here. I feel like there's gonna be war. Here. No. Here. Okay, so they left. I think they're trying to gather their forces to come against us. Against one commander. So this is a close defeat in high. We have a chance of turning this around because it's close defeat. But I mean, we're at half health. That's 4 different things we have to eliminate. Auto resolve will take that out, but I don't know. Maybe we try to turn this around. We'll fight it. So this could be a bad battle because so their main force will start here. They have reinforcements coming from behind them. This is to our right and behind us. When do they come in? Minute 50, minute 40, 2 minutes. So I think what the idea is maybe put ourselves in a corner and try to figure it out from there. So we have our cavalry, temple guards, spirit shields, So these feral dreadswords are kind of big help for us. And the Carnosaurs. I don't know if this strategy is going to work, but if it's a close defeat, we might be able to turn it around. Which I think Source Warriors. Ancient Stegodon. So we're gonna have main forces coming in this way, so I think we get our archers on that immediately. They're not archers, but they're artillery. Okay, so we have our infantry. These guys are stronger infantry. Infantry. The heavy boys. Dreadswords. So I think we start this off by healing dreadswords, because these guys can turn it all around. I think this is what we do since we're fighting a few different forces. Forces are gonna come in first. So we get our solar engines on that. Archers. Shields. And then transfers. Okay, so let's do battle.
You may use the hills, valleys, and stranger formations of this place to your advantage, Commander. The terrain can conceal your forces.
if they have artillery, but I'm gonna let them come to us. Move him.
Be sure to use the maps available to assist your tactical planning, Commander.
It doesn't look like much will be coming from over here. Looks like this is the main force. Waiting for reinforcements.
Sarnitsa! Arschloch!
These guys are coming in soon. Oh yeah, here we go.
Your troops will fire at will without orders to the contrary, Commander. Have them conserve their ammunition, if you so wish.
Vortex!
I want him to focus on projects. Here we go. Some more cavalry against theirs.
More guardians!
Sitting in dragons. Carno's gonna get enraged and just do the wrong thing. Okay. And this is where we do battle.
Schwura!
This isn't gonna work. We're just getting eliminated. That's okay. Because these cowards that deployed against an already hurt army are going to pay. So once we lose a lord, we have to... Way to go.